Thank you so much, Godfrey, and thank you all for being here. This is not my first time here. I am so excited to be back and to see some familiar faces and to get to know some more of you. By way of introduction, my name is Rebecca Rygg. I'm a senior analyst at the U.S. Government Accountability Office. Unlike the other federal agencies here, we don't give out money. But we do check up on, for Congress, how that money is being handled and administered. So that's what we do. We don't have a very long presentation today, which is why I think Godfrey let me get up still. But we do just want to provide a little bit of information. Who GAO is and why we're here. The current review that I'm working on related to the Tribal Broadband Connectivity Program that if you've been here before, you may have heard me speak about our work on it, but I'll provide an update. And then my colleague Nalylee will provide some information about a new study that GAO is doing that is related to these issues. So that was I did not pick up my clicker. I think this is my clicker. That's what I said. So hold me to that. You can start booing me and getting me off the stage if I try to do more than that. So the next slide is hopefully a very short video.
You may have heard of us.
The government watchdog report now says,
according to a GAO report, and when the Government Accountability Office looked into this a few years ago, their findings were truly troubling.
But do you know what we do?
The Government Accountability Office is a nonpartisan watchdog that reports to Congress.
Often called the Congressional Watchdog, GAO is an independent, nonpartisan agency that helps Congress determine which government programs are working well and which are not.
We make recommendations to Congress or to executive branch agencies.
Our work is fact-based and objective, examining federal programs, facilities, and policies.
Congress wants the Government Accountability Office to keep an eye on that spending.
We track government funds to see how much programs are costing, if the programs have met their goals, and whether federal money has been spent wisely.
You give us the information that really can make government more efficient, more effective, and accountable.
Our work leads to laws and other changes that improve government operations, saving the government and taxpayers billions of dollars.
And the important thing is you provide information that is objective, that is fact-based, nonpartisan, fair, and balanced.
We're a fact-finding machine that returns more than $100 in savings for every dollar of our budget. Wherever the federal government is spending tax dollars, GAO is there. We do our work, including testifying before Congress, on topics as diverse as Navy shipbuilding, national cybersecurity, the census, Medicaid and Medicare program integrity, cutting-edge science and technology issues, nuclear security, homeland security, and healthcare for our nation's veterans.
Our core values of accountability, integrity, and reliability are reflected in all of the work we do for Congress and the American people.
Want to find out more?
Follow us on Facebook.
Welcome to a Cup of GAO. It's your coffee break with our expert.
Follow us on Twitter.
Visit our blog.
And subscribe to our podcasts.
For more from the Congressional Watchdog, the U.S. Government Accountability Office, visit us at gao.gov.
Thank you for indulging me. I feel like that video covered the key points that I wanted to introduce, which is who we are, how we sit in government, and the fact that we are out there to check up on the performance of agencies that are administering the grants. The important thing and the reason why we are here is because it's really hard to report on how agencies are doing administering grants if we are not talking with the people who are having the experiences with the agencies. So we are here to do the fact-finding that we do, to learn more, and to let you know about who we are, because as we pursue studies, we often reach out to tribes and to tribal communities, and it's really helpful if somebody knows who we are when we do that outreach. So the key point in addition to that is we do not audit tribes. So even though we are in the compliance and oversight community, we are not checking up on tribes, we are checking up on the agencies that are working with tribes. This was my backup if the video did not work, so I'm not going to cover this information. Now, why are we here? This is a wall of words slide that I show every time. This is the statute that requires GAO to review the Tribal Broadband Connectivity Program. When Congress created that program, they also wrote into the law the requirement that GAO review that program on an ongoing basis. So that's what I've been doing for the past several years. When we do this work, some of it is publicly available, but we can also brief the Hill. So we have been either issuing public reports or briefing the Hill every 6 months for the past 2 years. So if you've been here before, you may have received an email with one of those reports. I see some nods and some smiles. But know that even if we're not sending out those reports, we are talking with our Hill clients that are interested in this work. The project that I'm currently working on, and the one that I was working on when I was here in August, is looking at 4 features of the Tribal Broadband Connectivity Program. I'm not going to go into it because the report's not public yet, so I can't share my findings, but I want to get you a little bit of a flavor to have you know what we're looking at. We're looking at the program reach, that is the extent to which TBCP has reached communities that have not participated in key federal broadband funding programs in the past. And this is a really interesting feature and something that there's not really data out there on, the extent to which TBCP recipients are being served or purportedly served by those who have received federal broadband funding to serve their communities. We're also looking at project sustainability. We've learned a lot from the folks in this room related to that, and so we have done some independent work and research on that we'll be reporting on. We also talk about the environmental review process and about duplication. These are all issues that we pursued because of what we've heard in these and other settings from tribal communities. So we are grateful for the input that we've received. And with that, I will talk about this slide before I hand it over to Nalylee. The work that we're doing on TBCP builds on GAO's broadband portfolio on tribal lands. So we've been involved in these communities for several years. Back in 2018, we were reporting on the quality of the Form 477 data. We were out visiting with tribal communities, and we made recommendations to FCC that have affected some changes. Now, I know that there are some problems with the current status of the tribal broadband data, but we've been involved in that. So with that, I will hand it over to Nalylee to talk about a new review that GAO is starting.
Thank you, Rebecca. And I will quickly introduce myself because I know a lot of you here know Rebecca and have met Rebecca over the last couple years, but probably have not met me or know me. So I'm Nalylee Padilla. I'm an assistant director in GAO's physical infrastructure team. And I'm going to tell you about the newest review that we're starting. As you can see from this slide, we've done a lot of work related to tribal broadband in the past. So this newest review, before I get into it, let me give you a little bit of context as to why we're doing this and why we were asked to do this. A couple years ago, GAO came out with a report that found that there were over 100 different federal programs that could be used to fund broadband. Everything from the core deployment programs to broadband affordability programs, digital skills and literacy programs, programs related to devices, and other things. And so naturally, that begs a lot of questions about how these programs are all working together, how the 15 different agencies that administer these different programs are working together or not, how they're working with states and localities and tribes. And so these are the things that we were asked to look at. First, we're looking at quality information. And when I say quality information, I mean specifically information about where broadband is and is not available. Why is that important? I think most of you in the room know, because the agencies, FCC, NTIA, USDA, Treasury, they make a lot of their funding decisions based on that data, right? Where is broadband available? Where is it not available? Which areas are eligible? So it's important that they have good information on that. And we're looking into how they ensure that they have good information and quality information. We're also looking at the interagency coordination, right? With all these programs, with all these agencies, how are they working together to help manage that fragmentation, right? And make it easier for recipients to sort of follow through on these things. And then finally, federal and state coordination, the intergovernmental piece of that. And that's the piece where, well, all of the pieces, tribes come into play, but especially that piece. We know that there are programs that require tribes to coordinate through the states or where states lead that coordination, where coordination is required with tribes, but maybe it's not done as effectively as it could be or in a way that is satisfying to tribes. So these are the things we want to hear about. We want to hear about your thoughts on all of these areas. Tell us how it's been working for you. Tell us how it's not been working for you. Tell us what could be better. Tell us where there's been improvements, right? These are all the things that we want to hear from you because, as Rebecca said, this is the information that helps us identify where there's gaps, where we could be continuing to make improvements. So I know we're here on the last day of the conference. We were here yesterday, so thank you to all of you who have already talked with us or stopped by to get our business card or shared your contact information with us. And I just want to encourage you to continue to do that. Our table is right outside those doors. It's the very first one when you make a left. So stop by, grab our card, give us your contact information. If you don't want to talk to us now but want us to follow up with you later, we will. That's my contact information. That's Rebecca's contact information. And our colleague Krishana Wave, is sitting right there too. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back to Godfrey and thank him very, very, very much for giving us this time and space and NTTA.
You bet.